Sonic Frontiers, the latest and not really greatest innovation from the folks at Sonic Team, has been out for a while. This new title in the Hedgehog's collection of games boasts a brand new combat system that delivers some out-of-this-world combos, 5 different open zone islands to explore, and cinematic boss battles that are all here to enjoy at the Starfall Islands. One of the most interesting tidbits about Sonic Frontiers is the story, as it's written by a very notable figure in the world of the Blue Hedgehog, who's actually dabbled in Sonic countless times, Ian Flynn. The man, best known for his work on the Archie and IDW Sonic comics, has finally written for an official Sonic game. The road to writing for Frontiers has been quite a long one. In fact, Flynn has been writing Sonic stories long before his debut in Archie, like that one time he made that Sonic X Teletubbies fanfiction. For today, let's turn back the clock to an era before Ian was making work under the name of Sega, a time where he was creating fan comics with a small team of independent fans. Does this series stand the test of time, or has it aged like spoiled milk? Let's not waste any more time. This is the world of Other M, Ian Flynn's forgotten fan comic. The story begins with Sonic venturing through Robotropolis to stop Dr. Eggman yet again. This time, the mad scientist has cooked up a new device that sends Sonic to an alternate universe. He encounters Bean the Duck in the middle of an attack by the Dark Legion. The duo make their way to Angel Island, where they're introduced to the new group of freedom fighters, Bunny, Bark, Rotor, and Antoine. They all seem to dunk on Sonic, as it seems that this universe's version of him was an outright wimp. And it looks like things are possibly going worse for him, as Sonic has no idea how to get home. In the next issue, the Freedom Fighters plan an attack on the Dark Legion, or I guess it's called the Legion of Justice. Sonic tags in for Bark on the mission, and they raid the Legion of Justice's base, with some firepower from Bean's bombs. As the crew leave for another day, we are greeted with the reveal of this universe's spin on the Chaotix, who are working with the Legion. Back at the base, after a brief sparring match against Antoine, Bean plans the next mission, and the rebels attempt to make their way through the Mushroom Hill Zone. Sonic gets seriously injured from all the gunfire. They retreat for another day, but the story does end on an interesting note, as it seems that Ian Flynn attempts to add some sort of emotional depth with Sonic getting seriously injured and Fiona and Sonic flirting. But we've yet to see if this really goes anywhere. While he's getting taken care of by Bunny, we learn about the story behind Bean's bone arm and Rotor's inner turmoil against the Chaotix. Sonic also gets to explain how he got transported to this world, but she basically goes,
Hey, come here! Look at this! This thing must be crazy!
The next issue takes things a bit slower, as Sonic and Bark have a conversation over what truly is real and what isn't. This story also reveals how Bark became such a cybernetic mess due to some flying debris. Rotor is the next fighter that Ian focuses on in issue 7. His defensive nature is explored as Sonic figures out that it's Rotor's unwillingness to stop blaming himself for the death of his family. Sonic additionally points how Rotor's motives aren't even aligned with the team that he supposedly is a part of. Issue 8 decides to take a step back from the usual day in the life of the Resistance to look at this comic's take on the Echidnas. The main antagonist, Knuckles, along with Julie Sue and Constable Remington, who gives him the report of what the rebels have been doing over the past couple of issues. And we also get another reveal that Tails is working for the Legion, and he may have some devious plans of his own.
But I cannot share with you right now because the haters will say.
It's time to shift focus back over to the rebels, who encounter the Chaotix. It's a whole war zone out there with the rebels and the Chaotix. However, Mighty betrays the team and knocks Vector out. He explains that some of the rebels are actually working as agents of the Legion, so the rebels make their way through Angel Island, and poor old Knuckles is not having it. Issue 10 brings the rebels to a mysterious temple with ninjas and an ancient master. One of the members, Alpha, leads Sonic and Bean to an abandoned roboticizer. But instead of robots, what the trio find are King Max and Amy Rose. An alarm goes off, and they escape with Amy in tow. However, things end on a grim note with Alpha getting executed by the Chaotix. With a new member added to their team, what will the rebels do to stop the tyranny of the Legion? The first 10 issues have given me mixed feelings. The world building seems a bit slow for my taste, but I do appreciate the issues devoted to exploring the cast of Other M, even if the focus is a bit too long. There are some moments of weird dialogue where the characters just acting not like themselves, or just preaching away like I'm in church. The Legion is fine, I guess, and it seems that there are some attempts at mystery and romance in this comic. Easily the biggest hit and miss with the series is the presentation. The comic can range from actually looking decent with artists such as Lady Laguna and True Flyer with their anime and Sam Maxwell-esque art styles respectively, to Sonichu levels of bad with the man himself, Ian Flynn. Need I say more? Issue 11 begins yet again with Knuckles and Tails planning a way to get rid of those pesky rebels once and for all. He shows the leader a flying airship and explains where to strike next, but Knuckles says to shut everything down. Meanwhile, the team are having a celebration to the hopeful death of the Guardian, but the party is cut short as the airship from earlier makes its way over to the group. Their base is absolutely demolished and everyone makes it out alive, except Bark. The next issue follows up with the gang trying to figure out what to do. Sonic gives an inspiring speech on how they need to be strong regardless of the situation at hand. Their spirits are lifted up, and the rebellion has another plan in the works to storm the Guardian and his Legion crew. Back in Echinopolis, there's a parade going on and Sonic, Bean, and Amy are all here to take it down. Predator Hawk of the Destructics makes his appearance here to aid in the rebellion, and Sonic comes face to face with Tails and Knuckles. This encounter shakes Sonic up, as his best friends of all people were the last he'd ever expect to go bad. Sonic and Fiona come into conflict with the Chaotix once again, and it's a chase through Echinopolis with every member trying their best to catch the Blue Blur. The mission is a success, but Sonic is worried about the casualties that they have to deal with in each mission. Bean understands his resentment, but his rationale is that if there are casualties, the Legion and the Guardian will succumb to the pressure and give them what they want. The ninjas from last time are brought up yet again as Sonic, Bean, and Predator Hawk try to plan their next attack. The four of them get teleported and we are finally introduced to the universe's Dr. Robotnik, who goes into detail on how he saved their lives via their cybernetic enhancements. The Chaotix show up once again along with the leader himself, Knuckles. A brawl breaks out and the trio make a daring escape, but Bean gets shot down. As the team mourn the death of their comrade, Sonic devises a plan to take out the main source of the problem, Knuckles, with an army from Charmy B. In order to reach him, however, the team have to take a plane, and the Chaotix are secretly listening on their flight. At the Golden Hive colony, the rebels plead for the aid of Charmy's forces, but his colony is literally scattered with spies. Predator Hawk returns to his apartment, only to be ambushed by the Chaotix. The Legion decide to kick things up a notch as SPO plans to use the Mobotropolis province as bait for the heroes. Once they arrive, they'd be crushed by the Legion's army. Sonic and Co believe that this is their only chance to take down the Legion. He thinks he can beat the odds, and with no additional help, it's all or nothing. Both sides get their armies ready and head out to meet each other on the battlefield. Issue 20 concludes this event with a full frontal assault on the Legion. The Legion, however, does have the upper hand in firepower. Mighty comes to the rebels' aid and smashes up some tanks. The mysterious ninja from earlier duels with Knuckles, and it's revealed that she's actually Sally in this universe. Knuckles immediately switches up and tries to reason with her, stating that he loves her and his entire kingdom was all for her.
We do not care.
Back on the battlefield, every single person is just dying out here. Rotor, Antoine, Mighty, Vector, Julie Sue, Knuckles, and Sally, just to name a few. Things are wrapping up as Tails steals the Sword of Acorn and stabs it into the Master Emerald. This causes the entire world to explode, and Sonic actually wakes up. Not in the other M world, but the proper world of Mobius. Apparently, he'd just been in a coma for a while. But Sonic wants to go back to that world, as it seemed so real to him. Overall, this part of the story actually started to set up some interesting plot points, though I was kinda shocked to see the cast slowly dwindle away. I swear, almost every issue this time had someone kick the bucket out of nowhere. It's sad to see some of these characters go, but others I didn't really feel I had that much emotional attachment to. so it did feel like their deaths were there for the sake of shock value, or plot convenience, like the random reveal that Knuckles had built the Empire to win Sally's love. The introduction and reveals of the new characters themselves have been pretty lackluster, with Predator Hawk being the only notable character to actually do something noteworthy throughout these 10 issues. We're wrapping up with the last 10 of Other M. Will these last few issues save the comic, or am I setting myself up for disappointment? Only one way to find out. The last 10 issues start us with Sonic stuck in jail. Everyone thinks he's crazy, and to be honest, I don't blame them. Sonic even just ignores his friend's wishes to help fight Eggman to revisit his dream. Sonic shows up and takes Sonic back to his world. To sum it up, Sonic did get sent to a different world due to the malfunction of the Mad Doctor's device. He apparently possessed that Sonic in that world, and he's gotta go back. He even gets 5 minutes before all his friends get slaughtered. He hops back in with none of his upgrades, but that doesn't stop him from saving his friends. He attempts to stop the Emerald from getting destroyed, but gets killed in the process, leaving Sonic to finish the job. While one Sonic is out of the picture, we still have another to continue the story. So let's see where this goes with picking up the pieces. The Rebels, along with new allies, Remington and Mighty, are now planning to take over the kingdom as the Guardian is now dead. They team up and rescue King Max. The Rebels, along with King Max, take a flight over to Knothole. During their flight, Mighty asks Sonic why he's been helping him out. Sonic simply states that he knows what he's doing. That definitely sounds trustworthy for sure. Max encounters Kodos the lion and a bunch of other cat characters ready to fight. They all get defeated and soon wake up just in time for the hunt to continue. Sonic and Kodos race through the forest until Sonic uses the Great Oak Slide to make it to Knothole. Only this time, he's greeted by some new faces. There are some more rebels, and Sonic could definitely use their help this time around. Sonic makes it back to the castle just in time to take out the remaining villains. Kodos comes back for vengeance, and everyone jumps in to stop him for good. The issue ends with Max declaring the new spot, the Kingdom of Acorn, once again. Fiona talks to Sonic and mentions his sudden change once the war was over. He can stop playing leader for now. Sonic says that he'll try not to act so strange even though he's still wondering if he's in a dream or not. Mighty is on his way to Mercia, and the rebels want to join in on the fun, so the gang is off on another adventure. During the trek to Mercia, Sonic and Co encounter Espio and Tails yet again, attempting to sabotage their adventure in the mountains. Despite having the advantage in numbers, they're clearly outclassed in power, so the rebels try to escape and find an elevator that leads them to a base of a man named Sydney. Sydney gives the group a tour of his base, and even feeds them. However, things are put into question as Sydney explains that his underground base is actually a roboticized whale. But what's worse is that rumor is that the Guardian is back in Albion. Sydney wants to help, but the group is reluctant. That is until he shows them something interesting. Bean is back in the picture as Sydney kept him in stasis after his death. Even though they have their old friend back, the team is unsure about working with Sydney. But they still have to stop the Operation Albion. The final issue centers around Rotor as he's awakened by Sydney from a strange nightmare. He's tricked into being a guinea pig in his latest project. Sydney unleashes a strange entity on Rotor that engulfs him. As he slowly drowns in the substance, he sees visions of Tikal the Echidna. The story ends on a rather mysterious note, with the remaining fighters leaving for Albion, and no answer if Rotor survived or not. So, that just happened. Other M is quite a strange comic to look back on, as despite how poorly aged it is, I could pinpoint a couple parallels from this comic to other works of Flynn, for better and mostly worse. The premise of this whole fish out of water story isn't played up too much, and is mostly brought up between the romance subplot with Sonic and Fiona, and I guess issue 21 and 22. As mentioned before, the random reveals of Knuckles' true motive behind the creation of his kingdom was completely out of left field. Sonic letting Eggman just turn on his machine to get the plot rolling did seem pretty tacky, and reviving Bean was honestly not that great of a decision in my eyes. There were only a few things I did enjoy from Other M. But overall, Other M isn't a comic I would wholeheartedly recommend. More or less, it's a comic that's shown its age for the worse. It's incredibly edgy, the premise is interesting, but not fully realized, and the presentation is an overall hit or miss. Other M is a comic series, and that's all I can really say. Thanks for watching today's video. If you like what you saw, you already know what to do. Big shoutouts to Sakura Blossom for drawing the art for the thumbnail. If you've been a long-standing viewer of the channel, you may remember her for making the thumbnail artwork of the first video essay on here. Don't forget to check out the Discord server and the second channel in the description below. They get to watch videos like this one weeks before it hits the main channel. Also, I've been planning special events and info such as my art commissions, movie nights, and video recordings. So if you want to keep an eye out for the future of this channel, that's the place to go. Anyway, hope to see you all in the next Stricer video.